billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa ta'izzu man tasha wa tuzillu man tasha biyadikal khair innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. अल्लाह सुब्हान ताला ही जिसे चाहे इज्जत देते हैं और अल्लाह सुब्हान ताला ही जिसे चाहे ज़िल्लत देते हैं, वही हर चीज़ पर कादिर है. My dear fellow countrymen and the people who believe in television and media, this is John Shike speaking for the Waa TV and I brought you program Halate Hazra. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah bless you wherever you are. Enjoy your program. Sit down and relax. Today's my program is interesting, a little different, but I want you to listen to it with your ears, watch with your eyes, feel with your heart, and then make a decision with your brain. But I say this right, and if you think I'm right, pick up a phone and call me at 832-741-0564. I will speak English and Urdu. Sometime I will come back in Urdu, speak few words, because some wording looks more powerful in Urdu, some looks good in English. So majority of the program is going to be in English, 99%, but time to time I may use Urdu language, and then I'll come back and translate probably that wording what I just said. Having Saudi Arabia and China are one of the enemies of Pakistan? You probably will be shocked. Saudi Arabia, China, enemy of Pakistan? I want you to think about it. What I'm questioning is Saudi Arabia and China are one of the enemies of Pakistan? And you will say, how that can be? Saudi Arabia ने पाकिस्तान को एटम बम बनाने में मदद की. Saudi Arabia helped with the money from Libya to build an atomic bomb in Pakistan. That's very true. Pakistan built an atomic bomb. Pakistan, the only atomic power country in the Muslim world. Now, Iran is trying to become one, and then there's another country we will talk about in a second. But today's program is Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and China are different, and these countries are against Pakistan, and if they are, then why? What is the the thing? Why they are against Pakistan? What is the thing why they are against Pakistan? Having said that, this is whole thing everybody knows that Saudi Arabia is supporting Taliban and giving them money. But before I go somewhere, there's a war in Saudi Arabia now. Saudi Arabia is ready to attack on ISIS. You know what ISIS stand for? Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Where these people come from? I will tell you that too. And also tell you how the Al-Qaeda and how the Taliban were set up. But let's watch a little bit documentary, short films, little bit few cuttings that I have prepared for you so you could understand. I will show you attack on the Saudi borders. Why Saudi Arabia is so much concerned कि मेरे बार्डरों पे हमला हो गया, मेरी मदद करो. Because Saudi government is a dictatorship. There is no government, there is no democracy in Saudi Arabia. They are dictators. They violate human rights. There are no civil rights in Saudi Arabia. Nobody is protected under the Constitution like we are protected under the Constitution of the United States. If you compare America with Saudi Arabia, oh my God, I can't even say compare. United States is the greatest country in the world to live because of our Constitution, because of the form of our government, even though we disagreed with many things with the American government and American system, but it is. America is a best country to live, to raise your family and have a dream home. Your dream come true. If you work and don't cheat the government, yeah, your dream come true. So I said, let's watch this thing and then we go from there. Well, you just watched. Well, here I like to tell you something. Saudi prince, one of the Saudi prince, or I would say Saudi king, Shah, he lost $6 million in gambling in one night. My God, he was Muslim. You're not supposed to gamble. He lost $6 million in gambling just in one night. But if this gambling was done by somebody in Saudi Arabia, they would punish him under Islamic law. But who's going to punish the Shah? Who's going to punish the king? Oh, he did it in the United States. So mean what? United States, Allah is not watching? Oh, when the king came to the United States, he's no longer Muslim? Ladies and gentlemen, here I tell you something. What is the thing? Why they are against Pakistan? Having said that, this whole thing, everybody knows that Saudi Arabia is supporting Taliban and giving them money. But before I go somewhere, there's a war in Saudi Arabia now. Saudi Arabia is ready to attack on ISIS. You know what ISIS stand for? Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. These are, where these people come from? I will tell you that too. And also tell you how the Al-Qaeda and how the Taliban were set up. But let's watch a little bit documentary, short films, short little bit few cuttings that I have prepared for you so you could understand. I will show you attack on the Saudi borders. Why Saudi Arabia is so much concerned कि मेरे बॉर्डरों पे हमला हो गया, मेरी मदद करो. Because Saudi government is a dictatorship. There is no government, there is no democracy in Saudi Arabia. They are dictators. They violate human rights. There are no civil rights in Saudi Arabia. Nobody is protected under the Constitution like we are protected under the Constitution of the United States. If you compare America with Saudi Arabia, oh my God, I can't even say compare. United States is the greatest country in the world to live because of our Constitution, because of the form of our government, even though we disagreed with many things with the American government and American system, but it is. America is a best country to live, to raise your family and have a dream home. Your dream come true. If you work and don't cheat the government, yeah, your dream come true. So I said, let's watch this thing and then...
First, there's been a deadly attack in Saudi Arabia on the border with Iraq. 2 people were killed, a general and a colonel. One attacker blew himself up while another was killed in a gunfight with Saudi forces. No claim of responsibility so far, but there are reports that the Islamic State group could have been behind that attack. Joining me now is Wasim Nasser, France 24's expert on jihadi movements. Hello, Wasim. What more can you tell us about this attack?
What we know today is that this morning at dawn at 4:30, 4 jihadis attacked this location in Saudi Arabia. a general was killed, and it's not just any general. He's the head of the northern zone for Saudi Arabia. The colonel wasn't killed; he was injured, and another soldier was killed in a gunfight. So we know that between the four jihadis that attacked, one was killed through a shot. The second one blew his explosive belt, and this is how the general and his soldier and his companion were killed. And two others were capable to go back to Iraq.
And what's the significance of this attack?
There's a big symbolic in this attack. Till now, it wasn't officially claimed by the Islamic State, but all the people that are sympathizers of the Islamic State and even high-ranking officials of the Islamic State are cheering this event on social media. And the symbolic is to attack Saudi Arabia, since Saudi Arabia is part of the coalition, since Saudi planes are hitting today in Iraq the positions of the Islamic State. But also one important thing to note is that these two officers weren't there randomly, if I may say so. It means that the jihadis had real intelligence information, because as we know, high-ranking officers like this don't spend their time on the border. So they had information which made them capable of doing this attack, and where it was made, it wasn't really on the border. So I guess, it's not sure, but I guess that they were able to get into 10 kilometers into Saudi Arabia before being able to hit.
And what about the reports of Saudi Arabia financing the Islamic State group?
Today, this is the most. This is a blunt proof that all this was nonsense. Saudi Arabia. People thought that Saudi Arabia was financing jihadi group because of its engagement in Afghanistan in the 1980s. But this is not true for Syria. In Syria, they are helping Islamist groups, but Islamist groups which are against the Nusra Front, which is Al-Qaeda, and against the Islamic State. We shouldn't forget that Saudi Arabia financed the Sunni militias that fought Al-Qaeda in Iraq beginning 2007. So all this is a myth about Saudi Arabia helping the Islamic State, and we should know that Saudi Arabia is a target for the Islamic State since it was created, because they think that they are apostate, not real believers, and the Islamic States want to take back holy places in Saudi Arabia. And today, for the Islamic State, if it will get claimed in the upcoming hours, Saudi Arabia being in the coalition, and Saudi religious, high-ranking religious people in Saudi Arabia making the fatwas or the diktat, saying that the caliphate isn't legit. This means that they have the justification to attack Saudi Arabia, and I guess that this attack is the beginning.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for clearing things up for us, Wasim.
Welcome to News International.
Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi called for attacks against the rulers of Saudi Arabia in a speech purported to be in his name on Thursday, saying his self-declared caliphate was expanding there and in 4 other Arab countries. Baghdadi also said a U.S.-led military campaign against his group in Syria and Iraq was failing, and he called for volcanoes of jihad the world over. Reuters could not independently confirm the authenticity of the speech, an audio recording carried on Islamic State-run social media. The voice sounded similar to a previous speech delivered by Baghdadi in July in a mosque in the Iraqi city of Mosul, the last time he spoke in public. The speech followed contradictory accounts out of Iraq after U.S. airstrikes last Friday about whether he was wounded in a raid. U.S. officials said on Tuesday they could not confirm whether Baghdadi was hit in a strike near Fallujah in Iraq. In Washington on Thursday, State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki said she could not confirm the recording's authenticity and said Washington and others were likely to increase efforts to counter the group's claims to represent Islam. Clearly the brutality, the rhetoric, the efforts to incite, by any leaders of ISIL, is not a new phenomenon. It certainly is a reminder to everyone in the region and around the world of what their intentions are, Psaki told reporters. Baghdadi urged supporters in Saudi Arabia, the world's top oil exporter, to take the fight to the rulers of the kingdom, which has joined the U.S.-led coalition in mounting airstrikes against the Islamic State group in Syria. O sons of Al-Haramain, the serpent's head and the stronghold of the disease are there, draw your swords and divorce life, because there should be no security for the Salawal, Baghdadi said, using a derogatory term to refer to the leadership of Saudi Arabia. Haramain is a reference to the two holiest places in Islam, both of them in Saudi Arabia. Since Islamic State began an offensive in Iraq in June, Saudi Arabia has sent thousands of troops to the border area. The speech was not dated but carried a reference to a November 7 U.S. announcement that President Barack Obama had approved sending up to 1,500 more U.S. troops to Iraq. Obama has said the United States aims to degrade and eventually destroy Islamic State. Islamic State has seized swathes of Syria and Iraq and in June declared a caliphate over territory it controls. Baghdadi said he had accepted oaths of allegiance from supporters in Libya, Egypt, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, and Algeria. We announce to you the expansion of the Islamic State to new countries, to the countries of the Haramain, Yemen, Egypt, Libya, Algeria, Baghdadi said. The speech was transcribed in Arabic and translated into English. Although supporters have pledged allegiance to Islamic State in countries including Lebanon, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, Baghdadi singled out only those 5 states, picking countries where sympathizers have a strong base and could mount attacks. He added, however, O soldiers of the Islamic State, erupt volcanoes of jihad everywhere. Light the earth with fire against all dictators. Referring to U.S.-led military action against his group, Baghdadi said, despite this crusade campaign being the most fierce and severe of all, it is the greatest failure. We see America and its allies stumbling in fear, weakness, impotence, and failure. Referring to Yemen, where Shiite Houthis captured the capital Sana'a in September, forcing the government to resign, he said, O soldiers of Yemen, be harsh against the Houthis, they are infidels and apostates. Fight them and win against them. Baghdadi also congratulated supporters in Egypt's Sinai for starting jihad against what he called the dictators of Egypt. He also urged supporters in Libya, Algeria, and Morocco to prevent secular groups from ruling. After Baghdadi's speech, Egyptian militant group Ansar Bait al-Makdis, which swore allegiance to Islamic State this week, changed its name to Sinai Province on the Twitter feed claiming to represent it.
You just watched. Well, here I like to tell you something. Saudi prince, one of the Saudi prince, or I would say Saudi king, Shah, he lost $6 million in gambling in one night. My God, he was Muslim. You don't supposed to gamble. He lost $6 million in gambling just in one night. But if this gambling was done by somebody in Saudi Arabia, they would punish him under Islamic law. But who's going to punish the Shah? Who's going to punish the king? Oh, he did it in the United States. So mean what? United States, Allah is not watching? Oh, when the king came to the United States, he's no longer Muslim. Ladies and gentlemen, here I tell you something I was told and I was touched. Jewish religion, in their beliefs on Saturday, as far I know, the Jewish airline, the Israeli airline, does not fly. No flight in Israel because that's their religious day. They don't even touch many things, electronic things, many things they don't even touch because they respect their religion. But then where is Islam? What is wrong with us? What's wrong with Christianity? By the Jews, that means Jews are better religious people than many others. Think about it, what I just said. हमें तो मना किया गया है कि कुरान पे हाथ रख के झूठ नहीं बोलना और हमसे सबसे ज़्यादा कुरान पे हाथ रख के झूठ बोलते हैं. हमें मना किया गया है गीबत नहीं करनी, हम सबसे ज़्यादा गीबत करते हैं. हम गीबत न करें तो हमारा खाना हजम नहीं होता. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just said, I only translate only one part. We do the backbiting. Backbiting is very badly or very strongly being forbidden in Islam. You don't supposed to backbite. And until we backbite, our food don't digest. So that's a very bad habit. Now, let's talk about something else. The Indian Prime Minister, who claims he used to have a tea stall, right? He claims that Pakistan, there's the non-Muslims are not fairly treated, and they've been prosecuted in Pakistan, whatever. So I want you to watch a little bit this. This is Indian. What happened in India in his government when he was Minister of Gujarat. Gujarat is a state of India between border by Pakistan. And one side is Bombay, one side is Pakistan. And what happened? How many Muslim girls got killed and murdered? Pregnant woman in India, ladies and Muslim pregnant woman. They put a knife in her stomach, took the kid out, chopped kid in piece. Oh, can you imagine? President Obama, you knew all this and you went to India to shake hands with the guy which the American Department of State says there was a genocide, not to issue him a visa, and the visa was not issued, and you invited him White House. Come on, Mr. President, you went there and hug him and sat with him and signed him a treaty. Come on, you mean you are also supporter of murder, Mr. President? I refuse to believe. I don't believe my president can be a supporter of murderer, child killers, and rapists. No, sir, I refuse to believe. But why, Mr. President Obama? You went to India to shake hands with a rapist and murderer? Oh, child killer? Ladies and gentlemen, let's watch this thing.
In 2002, when Modi was the chief minister, a train full of pilgrims coming back from the destruction of this Ayodhya mosque, which was disputed, the train caught fire. Nobody knows who set fire to the train, and 57 pilgrims were burnt. In reaction to that, under his watch, right-wing Hindu mobs went crazy in Gujarat. They burnt and killed and raped, and something like between 1,000 and 2,000 Muslims were massacred openly on the streets of Gujarat. 100,000 people were driven from their homes. The people who did the killing were helped by the police. There was a member of the Legislative Assembly called Ehsan Jafri who had the temerity to stand against Modi in the elections. His house was surrounded by a mob of 20,000 people. He made something like 200 phone calls asking for help. The police vans came there and went away. They didn't do anything. The mob surrounded the house. Ehsan Jafri came down and said, look, there were many people sheltering in his house. He came down and he said, look, do what you like to me, but let the women be, let the people who are taking shelter in my place be. They cut off his arms, they cut off his legs, they dragged his body around the place, and then they killed all the people there. They raped the women and they burnt them alive. So, and Modi said, well, if there's an action, there'll be a reaction.
Saudi Arabia had asked Pakistan for us to give them military aid. But they want us to give them military because they're in time of need. Now, they may have given us oil, they have supported Pakistan, they brought a Wahhabiyat to Pakistan by Taliban, but now they want to. What Pakistan government should do? I don't think so. Pakistan government should intervene in the civil war, because Maulana Fazlur Rahman, as head of one party in Pakistan called Jamaat Ulama, whatever the party is, he said that America is trying to start a war between Muslim countries, Muslim after Muslim. This is their new way. And why they want Pakistan to intervene in this war? Why Saudi Arabia want Pakistan? They feel this is American politics. If Pakistan will go into the war, it will turn off many Muslim countries, particularly Iran. Iran is on a border with us. One side India will attack us, other side Iran will attack us, and Pakistan will become the sandwich. Try to understand what I'm saying. ये एक अमेरिकन सियासत है कि अमेरिका की सियासत में वो क्या चाहते हैं कि हम सऊदी अरब की हेल्प करें, क्योंकि उन्होंने हमें बहुत पैसा दिया है, हम फ़कीर हैं, बेगर हैं, उनसे मांगते हैं, और जब हम ये करेंगे तो बहुत से मुल्कों को हम नाराज़ कर लेंगे, और जब ईरान को हम अपने साथ नाराज कर लेंगे तो एक तरफ से हमारे ऊपर ईरान हमले का खतरा होगा, दूसरी तरफ से इंडिया के हमले का खतरा होगा और पाकिस्तान एक सैंडविच बन के रह जाएगा। और तीसरी तरफ बहुत बड़ा खतरा जो किसी वक्त भी एटम बम की तरफ फट सकता है, दैट इज MQM. Ladies and gentlemen, the third most dangerous thing in Pakistan is the MQM, the world biggest and known terrorist. Sitting in England, his name is Iltaf Hussain. Why he has not been prosecuted by the Britain right now? Because they believe divide and rule. They have sufficient evidence to send this man sentenced to death or life imprisonment and hand over to Pakistan, we can hang him. No, they won't do it because they want to use him to divide Pakistan. His own people who have been arrested, they testify under oath that they were gone to India. India trained them and sent them back to Pakistan to cause terrorism. A few days ago, I was talking to somebody and the guy was so idiot, I don't even want to say nothing about him. He said many Americans can't even find map of Pakistan on internet. I laughed and I told him, without the help of Pakistan, United States could not have become a superpower. Ladies and gentlemen, United States was always sole superpower, but never was sole superpower because Russia and other. And when the Americans set up the Taliban, the Mujahideen group, and fund them, and Pakistan trained them, and Pakistan fought with Taliban the war of America in Russia and kicked Russia out. That's how America became the sole superpower. So Pakistan had a lot to do with America to becoming a sole superpower. So then this idiot tells me many Americans can't even find Pakistan, a map of Pakistan on the internet. My God. Many Americans don't even know what the First Amendment or Constitution is when the United States was independent. I believe you. Believe you me, many Americans don't even know when the United States was independent. And many Americans don't even know what Washington DC is bordered by. They don't even know what Declaration of Independence is. So what can I say about these Americans? Come on. You got the answer. Or these type of Americans, this class of Americans, I can't say nothing. So I rest my case. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about another thing. Saudi Arabia want us to help them in this war. Fine. It is the Nawaz Sharif say the parliament going to make a decision, and there's a split thing in Pakistan. But I want to ask something in Saudi Arabia. How are you insult Pakistan every time? Why you insult Pakistan so bad? Anytime when the Prime Minister of Pakistan or somebody goes there and there's a press conference, it is internationally done this thing. If the President of Pakistan come to the Washington DC in a White House and there's a press conference, you will see the flag of the United States, you will see the flag of Pakistan, President Obama or Vice President or whatever person from the government agency is making the press conference. He or she will be standing there, and he or she from Pakistani side will be standing there and answering questions to the media, and there will be flag of both countries. But in Saudi Arabia, anytime when Pakistan is gone, there's no Pakistani flag. What an insult. What are you? You just a gotten badus. You were just a beggars and badus and decades. British pick you up because they need a government like you. What are you doing to your own people? Trillions of dollars oil has been sailed under the table, and trillions of dollars have been invested in Western society. They won't even let you to bring money home because they don't want you people to have anything, and all the government and there it's set up by you, and all the land is owned by the government, and the government शहजादों ने ज़मीन खरीदी है, सारे मालिक बादशाह और शहजादे हैं ज़मीन के, बाप की प्रॉपर्टी है इनकी. हम इस्लाम करते हैं तो वहाँ सऊदी अरेबिया में इस्लाम कहाँ गया? Where is Islam in Saudi Arabia? How the whole land of Saudi Arabia became the property of the kings and princes? Hado yaar, what happened? That is not Islamic. That is not democracy in Islam, but Islam. That is not what is said in Quran. Come on, yaar. You made a fool of yourself. I think the Muslim countries should join together, and if a couple of these guys, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Doha, these Arab states, if they are democratically the government or Democrat government, and if there's election and overthrow these dictators, like they overthrow Saddam, then it's possible the Muslim world will be different and there will be peace, and Muslim world will have once again the freedom of being a world joint industrial countries of the world. Like there used to be one time, the Muslim world was the joint industrial area of the world. And it can be again, it can be done. But it's not going to be done the way things are going now. Now Saudi Arabia want to involve Pakistan in civil war, and it's going to be no good. मैंने आपको बताया ISIS इसका मतलब है इस्लामिक स्टेट, इराक एंड सीरिया, इन लोगों ने. अब आपको मैं बताऊं, एक बड़ी अजीब सी बात बताऊं. अल्ताफ को आपको मैंने बताया गिरफ्तार क्यों नहीं करते. वो इसलिए नहीं करते कि वो divide and rule पे भी की कहते हैं. They believe on divide and rule. If they arrest Altaf, then the deal is over. That's why they are not arresting him. That's a very simple thing. PM Modi is talking about all these things of Pakistanis. You saw his video, what the girl said about that. This is ridiculous. You know, the civil war, this is not the first civil war in Saudi Arabia and Yemen. There was back in 1960 where the Saudi Arabia was also involved with the Egypt, and then in 1990s, Janubi, northern and southern Yemen, and then they become one. This is not the first time, you know. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या है? प्रॉब्लम ये है कि Saudi Arabia wants power. They want people to be beggars under that. They want to make their own nuclear weapon. America gave them quite a bit of technology, sold them technology, and because Saudi Arabia is no threat, America can blow off their planes and airport at any time. It's all in American control. Bing, Washington DC say go, go. So वो पैसा ज़ाया कर रहे हैं. उनको चाहिए कि हुकूमत को ऐसे लोगों के हवाले करें जो उनके मुल्क के अपने लोग हों, जो वहाँ डेमोक्रेटिक इलेक्शन लाए सऊदी अरेबिया में. should have a democratically held election in Saudi Arabia, transfer the power of a hand of a people. So, and as for the Iran is concerned, don't get afraid of Iran. Don't be scared of Iran. You do your number, Iran will do their number. I don't think so Iran going to go after Saudi Arabia unless you do something to them. Don't finger them. Don't do nothing. Let them do what they're doing. How you know when you ever see the sparrow attacking eagle? When he is trying to take the child of the sparrow, she attacks it knowingly that she is in no match with it. So don't feel that. You just seen what happened in a cricket. India was saying, India, we are the best. God brought them down. They are all gone. They were laughing at Pakistan. What happened? People are breaking TV in Pakistan. When our team came back home to Pakistan, we salute Misbah. What they did, they get a security to the Indian captain. There's a difference in India and Pakistan. Indians cannot take pressure. I mean, this whole thing was set up, this whole games were set up because Australia won from Pakistan, otherwise India was going to lose his पीछे से बची हुई धोती खोल देता. हिंदुओं की पीछे से बची हुई धोती इस दफ़ा खोल देते हैं. ये जो पठान है पाकिस्तान की टीम के अंदर, उनको समझ नहीं आई कि हुआ क्या, कि क्या हो गया, किसने सेटअप कर दिया, मैच कैसे हो गया. That's all it was, a setup. So that's what I'm trying to say. Stop setting up the matches. Let the real thing go play. Let the people enjoy it. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to the end. I like to say here one thing. Your vote is such a powerful weapon you don't even know. You don't need to hold a gun in your hand. You do not need to hold atom bomb or rocket launcher. You're holding your vote in your hand. On election day, go to the polling station and vote for the right person. Vote for the right person. 6 million, over 6 million Muslims reside in the United States. Just imagine if they vote the right candidates. Nobody in America can say anything against Islam. Think about it what I said. चलता हूँ, इजाज़त दीजिए. गलती हुई तो माफ़ कर दीजिएगा. मेरा पैगाम मोहब्बत था जहाँ तक पहुँचे. यहाँ पर ये कहूँगा मैं अकेला ही चला था जानबे मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए कारवां बनता गया. तुम थी ये बादे मुखालिफ से ना घबराए हो आप. ये तो चलती है तुझे ऊंचा उड़ाने के लिए। नाज़रीन, आपने मुझे आंखों से देखा, कानों से सुना, दिल से महसूस किया। आप दिमाग से सोचिए और फैसला कीजिए कि जो बातें मैंने की हैं सही हैं। क्या पाकिस्तान को वॉर में इंटरवीन करना चाहिए सऊदी अरब के साथ? मेरे ख्याल में नहीं, क्योंकि वे हमारे लिए बहुत मुश्किलात पैदा कर देंगे। एक नया कीड़ा, एक नया बाप खुल जाएगा और हमारे लिए बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगी, जो जैसे जनरल ज़िया ने और जनरल मुशर्रफ साहब ने पैदा की थी। ईरान को हम अपना दुश्मन बना बैठेंगे और मुल्कों को दुश्मन बना बैठेंगे। हमें इससे दूर रहना चाहिए। दूसरी चीज़, क्या सऊदी अरब हमारा दोस्त है? नहीं। अगर इंडिया की मार्केट, ये जो लोग कह रहे हैं कि इंडिया की मार्केट खोल दो, अगर खोल दें तो जिन लोगों ने इंडिया के लिए मार्केट खोली थी, जिनमें भूटान, श्रीलंका, नेपाल, बांग्लादेशी, आज उनकी मार्केट को क्या हुआ है? तबाह हो जाएगी उनकी मार्केट। आप अपनी प्रोडक्ट्स बनाएं और उनको बेचें, मिडल ईस्ट में लेके जाएं, सेंट्रल साउथ अमेरिका में लेके निकलें पाकिस्तान से बाहर। वही छोटा सा इंडिया और ये यूरोप को ना देखें, दुनिया बहुत बड़ी है, रिज़्क़ बहुत अल्लाह ताला दे सकते हैं। आप कोशिश कीजिए, नमाज पढ़िए और खुदा से मांगिए। चलता हूँ मेरी जान, चलता हूँ। कुछ कहा हो तो माफ़ कर दीजिएगा, कोई गुस्ताखी की हो तो मेरा मकसद सिर्फ इस्लाह था, आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन देनी थी। फॉरगेट अबाउट द रेस्ट, वाह टीवी इज़ द बेस्ट। पाकिस्तान जिंदा हो, पाइंदाबाद।